Great. So welcome everyone to our Club Success Toolbox webinar. This is the first time we've ever done something like this. And the whole reason is because starting July 1st, a new board of District 4 Toastmasters came into leadership, and we thought it would be a good idea for you to have a chance to get to know us, to ask questions, and also just start a discussion of what other webinars would be helpful to you guys throughout the year. It looks like we have had quite a few people join from all over the district. There's Neil Shapiro, I believe you're at the Menlo Park Sunset. Nasir is at Dolby. Natalia's at Ring Central. Micah's with Little Big Talkers. There's clubs represented in South Bay, the Peninsula, also San Francisco with Asian Express, and I think I just saw Venus from Fi-Dai Toastmasters join. So it's really great to see so much representation from the division or from the district. And for those of you who are new to Toastmasters leadership or just want to know a little bit more about what goes on, that's what this webinar is for. So as you have questions while each of us are presenting our part, feel free to interact with each other in the chat, introduce yourself, ask questions. We'll have a chance to answer any pending questions at the end, but we have some slides that we want to go through. We'll also send these slides to everyone that registered afterwards, and there will also be a recording of this on d4tm.org for those that weren't able to make it today. I wanted to start with a quick explanation of the structure of Toastmasters International. I think it's easy to take this for granted, being in district leadership for so many years, but essentially the base of Toastmasters International is the member. Just we're all members, and we all join as members, but that is what makes up Toastmasters International and who we serve as leaders. There's also the club level, which of course all of you are in the club. Areas consist of 5 or 6 clubs, and they are led by an area director that's appointed to provide resources, to visit the club, to be the liaison directly between the club and the district. There's the division, which consists of 5 or 6 areas, and the division directors support the area directors in their endeavors to help clubs succeed. There is the district. We are District 4, which spans from San Francisco all the way to Palo Alto. And then there's International and World Headquarters, which was previously based in Irvine, California, but they are now in Denver, Colorado. So it's nice to know that there's a group of people that we can speak to that directly run this organization. And the whole point of this structure is to say that there's a lot of support for each member. There's a lot of support for the club officers. There's an endless amount of resources that exist out there, some of which we'll touch on here. I know that you'll continue to have questions throughout the year, but I think this is a good starting point for discussion. And what we're going to focus on today is just the district level. If it's of interest of you, we can do other webinars specifically on club-related topics, area division, and international. Many of you were helpful in submitting topics that you would like us to talk about, like increasing membership, how to serve or how to achieve the distinguished club program levels, learn what other opportunities there are. So keep those ideas in mind, and we want to hear all of them. Again, this is just going to be a basic introduction to some resources that are available to you. But before we jump into the resources, I wanted to explain what my theme is as the district director. And I guess I should have introduced myself and who's talking. I'm Stefanie Chow. This is the District 4 director. Essentially the president, if you want to think of it that way, of District 4. And I have a great team of people that are working with me this year to back me up. My theme this year is a vision that I have, a vision that I would encourage all club presidents to have, all area and division leaders to have as they're fostering their individual communities. The one that I chose to promote this year was Find the Connection, which is essentially encouraging all Toastmasters across our district, across the world, to see how what we do in Toastmasters connects to what we do outside of Toastmasters, whether it's at work, at home, all the time that we pour into our club meetings every single week, the hours that we spend in officer board meetings, they all help us become better leaders, better communicators, and that trickles out throughout the rest of our lives. I'm not going to go through all of these positions, but like I said, there's a lot of resources out there to help each one of you. The person that you'll be most in touch with is probably your area director, but we have a multitude of other volunteers that are here to support the club. If you want to see a full list of clubs or of leaders, I included the breadcrumbs and the link at the bottom for our website. And I think there is a laser pointer that I can use, d4tm.org. And then go to the drop-down menu for District 4 Toastmasters and click on District Leadership Team. You can see everyone here. And thank you, Kitzzy, for including the direct link in the chat. A quick roadmap of what we'll be discussing in this webinar. Well, first of all, I'll mention some resources. We can go more in depth if you have questions. I know other officers will be touching on some of those. First and foremost, when someone comes to me with a question about Toastmasters, whether it's where can I find this or that, how can I learn more about this or that, when it comes to being a Toastmasters member or officer, I literally tell them to Google it. And it's not to brush off the question, but it's because there are thousands of Toastmasters clubs throughout the world. And I am not a fan of reinventing the wheel if there is already a valuable resource out there. So the internet is usually your friend. Just Google whatever resources you're trying to find, whether it's an agenda template, whether it's an onboarding process for members, ideas for member onboarding. You can also join the Toastmasters International Facebook group, and there are Facebook groups for different sectors of Toastmasters. There's one for our region, which is Region 2. We also have a page for District 4. So sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming with how many resources are out there. I've been in Toastmasters for 5 years, and I am still learning more and more about Toastmasters with every year that I serve. If you are looking for more specific websites to browse, there is d4tm.org, which is our district website. Many other districts across the world utilize our website as a resource because there is just so much great information on there, especially for the Pathways Education Program. There's, of course, Toastmasters.org. Our district411.org was started 3 years ago, and we try to keep it updated with blog posts to help you throughout your term as officers and just throughout your journey as a Toastmasters member. And then, of course, I personally think the best way to learn information is to attend our district events, whether they're education events, contests, club officer training, really exchanging information and having a conversation and networking with other Toastmasters throughout the district. That's really how you make valuable connections and you retain information the best. What we're going to do next after this slide is we're going to have our program quality director introduce herself and take over, share some of her slides, as well as the club growth director and public relations manager. After that, we want to hear from you. We want to know what questions you have. I know some of you submitted some questions beforehand, so we want to know if you either still have those questions or if you want to see a webinar that goes more in depth on something we talked about. And then, of course, like every good Toastmasters meeting, we want feedback. This is, like I said, this is the first time we've done a webinar like this, mostly because we want to have a level playing ground for brand new Toastmasters, brand new club officers, as well as officers that have done this for years and years and years. So we want to cater to all different audiences. We also want to have a multitude of webinars for those different experience levels. So if you think of something, write it down. You can email it to us afterwards or type it into the chat. Okay. And ultimately, everything that we do promotes our district mission, which is to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. And on that note, I believe that it's all from me. If I didn't forget anything, hopefully, I'll pass it now to our Program Quality Director, Kitzzy Avilés.
All right. Thank you, Stefanie. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Or Stefanie, you can reply.
Yes.
Okay. So Stefanie mentioned my name is Kitzzy Avilés. I am the Program Quality Director, and a little bit about what that means in a moment. I've been with Toastmasters for 3 years now, just got my DTM this past July, very excited. And I have been a trainer for 20 years, so education is something that's really in my heart, and that's why I took on this role of Program Quality Director, which basically coordinates all of the educational programs for the District 4. That includes, if you go to the next slide, Stefanie. And you can go ahead and click through and reveal it. So we have several educational events throughout the year, and here's some examples of those that we do. Club officer trainings, most of you may have already attended those. Toastmasters Leadership Institute is coming up on August 18th. This webinar and other webinars, and we would love to hear your topic ideas for new webinars that you would like to see. Speech contests are also part of program quality, and of course the spring conference, which will be held in May. Want to mention this here, I'll probably mention it again later on, but just want to remind everybody that there will be no full contest for Toastmasters International. We will only have one conference this year in May. We'll touch more on that later. So what does that mean for you guys? That means that there's lots of different leadership opportunities that you guys can avail yourselves of, as well as your members. So as your members are trying to complete their Distinguished their Distinguished Toastmaster Award or a leadership project in Pathways, they can look to some of these opportunities for places that they can do that. For example, they could, if you can click, serve as COT facilitators. So these are officers who've served for at least 1 year or more, and they can earn credit for being attending training while facilitating the training. We're also always, we'll be looking for workshop facilitators for the next Leadership Institute. This one's already pretty much baked out, but the next one after that should be sometime in November or December, and then in January or February, as well as the conference. Webinar host. So we want our members to hear from all the expertise in our district. So if you have an idea for a workshop or you would like to deliver a workshop, talk to me and let's see what we can work out, because there's so many great topics out there and we don't want them to hear all the same voices. So we're always looking for new ideas. Of course, once in the spring, the speech contest happens, sharing that is another opportunity, but also being part of a committee within the conference or the Leadership Institute. These are all great ways to complete your high performance leadership project, as well as to give back and grow as a leader, because each of these opportunities avails you that chance to grow further. All right, next slide. All right, so one of the resources that is available to you straight from Toastmasters International is the Distinguished Club Program. And this is basically a roadmap for your club of what success looks like. And Toastmasters has determined that if we accomplish these 10 goals throughout every year, that means that our members are achieving their educational goals, which means that they're achieving what they joined Toastmasters to do, that you are constantly bringing in new members to your club, and that brings with it new ideas and new perspectives, that club officers are trained and those are better able to serve the club, and that we're basically, turning our paperwork on time. And one of the things that I want to point out is that during this next 2 years, we have this combined educational goals. If you look at the top part of this, we have the current program and the Toastmasters Pathways program, and you can only earn still 6 points in education, but you can mix and match. This has been a little bit confusing for our members as we navigate this new Pathways program. But as you can see, you can combine these two to achieve your Distinguished Club program. And we can talk a little bit more about that if people have questions towards the end. One of the things that I really encourage all club officers, so if you're a member who are joining this webinar, not a club officer, encourage your club officers to share with you their club success plan. That is basically the action plan that they're going to use to help your club succeed and become distinguished. And again, this takes into account all the members' needs and what the club can do to help achieve them. And if we go to the next page, we believe that the club success plan is so important that we have an incentive to motivate clubs to achieve this. So we have the plan for success, and this basically means that if you as a club, your officers work together on this plan, send it in by September 16th with a photo of your team, you will earn $50 in district credit for your club. And these are some of the other upcoming incentives within Program Quality that you can take advantage of. If all 7 officers within training, you can earn $75 in district credit. And if at least 5 goals are achieved by October 31st in the DCP program, you can earn up to $100 in district credit. These are really great ways to not only get ahead of the game and set your club up for success, but also to earn some district cash for your club that your club can use to buy recognition, as well as send members to the Leadership Institute or the conference. Just to give you an idea, we have several of these incentives throughout the year, and if you try to achieve them all, my club last year did achieve most of them, and that was about $700 in district credit. We were able to reward some of our members' achievements with recognition, as well as send them to these educational events so they continue to grow. So it's a great way to add to your bank that way. All right, let's talk a little bit about Pathways. Obviously, I don't have time to go into it in depth, but I do want to just touch on a couple of resources. And again, we can answer more questions at the end. So if we go to the next page, we will see a screenshot of our D4TM website. And I want to point out that right at the front page, if you're not sure where to go, don't worry about anything else, but just look at that very last link, Pathways Resources. This will take you straight to the page on this website with all of the Pathways resources that you'll need. And we can see a preview of that on the next page. These are all the different Pathways resources we have, and I'm going to show you a preview of the top one in a second. But before that, I just want to point out we have everything from what does every project and Pathways look like? We've heard a lot of people say, I really wish that I could look ahead and not just be on the level that I'm on. And this basically is your cheat sheet for that. It gives you a glimpse of what every project and every path is, so you can plan ahead. And we also have some great resources here on how to get started with Pathways, both as a member and as a base camp manager. If you're the VPE, president, or secretary, how can you help your members with that? Now, if we click through on that very first link, Pathways, Paths, and Projects, and I have a preview of this here. This takes us to our website, and you can see this is just an example of one of the ones that you can find on there. Now, I know that some of our members are still in the Legacy program, and you have 2 years to finish that program. But we do have new members coming in to every club all the time, and they don't have a choice. They have to be on Pathways. So on this webpage, you can see exactly what is required of level 1 in Pathways, and every single path level 1 is the same. So if you just familiarize yourself with those 4 projects, you'll be able to more easily help new members get started. And this website, it's really fantastic. It walks you through every single project in the description so that you can really plan ahead and help your members plan ahead. All right, next slide. I think I have one more, and I'm right on time. And again, we'll talk, one of the things that I do want to mention is that we are currently working on a webinar series for Pathways specifically, because we know there's a great need for members and officers to understand more about Pathways. And so we're working on a series of webinars and blog posts that are going to be coming soon, as well as we'll have some sessions at TLI. So just want to leave you guys with some of the upcoming events that you can attend to learn more about all of this. The next 3 club officer trainings in various cities in the month of August. You can see the dates there. August 18th is the Leadership Institute. Please sign up for that. It's minimal cost, and you get a full day of educational sessions and club officer training. The International Convention is on August 22nd through the 25th. And if you're not attending this, one of the things that it's important that you do, and I'll let Stefanie talk a little bit more about this later, is that you assign your proxies to Stefanie, our district director, to cast a vote on your behalf at the International Convention. And you as club officers can direct her how to do so. And again, one last reminder that there will be no full contest this year, but there will be international speech and evaluation contest in May, or starting in February with the clubs. And some upcoming due dates on the right that I've already mentioned before, but I just wanted to highlight them here. And again, we will pass along these slides to you so that you guys can have all this information. And I believe that is my slide, and I can hand this over to Kalidas.
Thank you, Kitzzy. Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you all for taking the time to attend this webinar. My name is Kalidas Cheroolil, and I am the Club Growth Director for this year. Stefanie, if you could please click. Yeah. Now, all of you could be wondering, what does this role mean, Club Growth Director? We'll get to it in a short while. Now, before that, let me remind you about what Stefanie mentioned about a few minutes ago, the district mission. The district mission is we build new clubs and support old clubs in advancing, in achieving excellence. That's the district mission. And my role as a district growth director is to contribute towards that. Now, how do we do that? What does club growth or district growth mean? It means sustaining current membership. Sustaining the current membership we have in the club. Why is that important? If you remember the pyramid that Stefanie showed you a short while ago, each club rolls into an area, and each area rolls into a division, and the divisions roll into a district, which means each member we lose is a loss for the district. Each member we gain is a gain for the district. Not only does the district grow, but also the outreach of the district grows. So the sustaining current membership is very important in achieving the mission of the district. Second is bringing in new members. As we all know, attrition is a part of life, no matter how wonderful a club is. Somewhere down the line, there are going to be some changes in the organization, or some of the members we have might relocate to a new place. The reasons are many. So attrition is a part of life. So unless we plan for new members, no matter how wonderful the club is, it's going to have some trouble down the line. Let's click. The third part is bringing in new clubs. Now, why is that important? It's important because we live in the Bay Area, which is a blessing, and now it works in a positive way and in a negative way. It's a boon and a bane. How? Because we have startups, we have organizations which get started, we have new clubs start over there, but then for some reason the organization shut down, or they actually do a reorg or whatnot. So not only do we have a chance of losing members, but we also end up losing clubs. So starting new clubs is very essential to keep the district healthy. Now, how do we contribute towards that? How do we plan towards it? This is a different, the distinguished club program that Kitzzy mentioned about in a different format. This is what you see when you log in to the dashboard on Toastmasters.org. So if you put in your 8-digit club number to this URL, replace the number 9113, which I've taken as an example, put your club number there, the 8-digit club number, you see your dashboard. You see the goals that you need to hit to become a distinguished club, or a select distinguished, or a president's a distinguished club. Now, if you look at the goals there, goals 7, 8, and 10 tie directly into club growth. Goal 7 talks about adding 4 members, which is club growth. Adding 4 more members is goal number 8. And the goal 10 talks about dues and officer list in time. To achieve this, as a motivational tool, you can use the club success plan. Put together a plan now saying, okay, this is how we are going to achieve a distinguished club recognition. And this is how, what we are going to do it, and these are the resources we are going to do. Identify the resources we have, identify the members you have within the club who can achieve specific goals and help the club meet those requirements. Next slide, please. Now, you would be wondering, why is this relevant to me? The fact is, all of us are part of the club growth team. Every single member within the district. You and me, all of us. So how can you do that? The first part is membership. We briefly touched about it. I talked about membership briefly in the previous slide. You, when I say you, each one of us, each one of the Toastmasters members we have within the district is a walking promotion. Every time we talk to someone, the way we communicate, the energy we show, the passion we show, the fitness is promoting Toastmasters without we realizing it. So that's happening every single time we talk to someone. How else can we do it? Word of mouth. Anyone who comes as a guest to our club has a very good experience when that person leaves, is going to put back a good word about our club. They're going to say good things about our club. That's a promotion. Internally within the club, you can have an incentive program. Something like bring a friend, bring a buddy. And if the buddy or 2 or 3 buddies join the club, that person gets a $5 or $10 Starbucks gift card, something. There are different methods each club uses. It's up to you what do you want to do with it. Second part is open houses. That's another way of promoting it. Get a key speaker within the organization. If it is a closed club, if it is a corporate club, look for someone within that organization who can vouch for Toastmasters, whose speech can be inspirational to the guests, who can be a crowd puller as well. We don't want just a speech there just to fill in the time. We want someone who can be a draw. So when you plan for an open house, try to find someone who can help you bring in the crowd. Third, think about it. Why did you join Toastmasters? What kind of a club would you like to be part of? Think about the positives. How will you understand that? The best part would be visiting other clubs. Visit other clubs around your area. See the good things that happen there that you can bring back to your club. Without you realizing it, the guests who come to your club leave the club meetings with a much better or enhanced experience. And the chances of they converting to a full member is very, very high. Now, the second part of helping the club growth is dues submission. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we have no control over it, so I don't know which one to use there. But Toastmasters to recognize us as members as long as we are up to date with the dues. We miss on our dues, the system locks us out, which means we could be working on our speeches, but TMI doesn't recognize it. So the club membership has to renew its dues. The next due submission date is coming up on 30th of September. And it's actually maybe a week from now, 2 weeks from now, you can start working on sending out reminders to the club members, checking on every single one, motivating them to renew. and turn in the money, make the payment, and make those dues go into TMI. Next one, please. This is important as well. Is if you look at whatever I have mentioned here, this strongly ties back to the DCP program I mentioned there. The last point there, officer list submission. There are some clubs which actually make an annual submission, which means they have an officer list ready for the next 1 year. They are good for the next 1 year. If you're doing it semi-annually, if you're doing it every 6 months, make sure you make a note of these dates and submit those officer lists before the dates come in. Now that I've told you how you can help the district, that of course the last one there is bringing new leads. If someone comes into your club as a guest and you know that this person belongs to a certain organization which is huge, send us that information. Tell us that, hey, I came across this organization which doesn't have a Toastmasters club yet. Send it to me, please. And if you saw the first slide, you might have noted down the email ID for the club growth director. It's simple, growth@d4tm.org. So new leads, which could get converted as new clubs down the line. Now that I told you about how you can help the club grow, how can the district help you? The district has different programs which can help each of those clubs, like the club consultant program, which is nothing but when the membership number of the club goes below 20. If you need help, you can reach out to me and I can help you find a consultant who will come to your club, visit your club for a specific period, of course, and give you suggestions, work with you closely. Now, if the number goes down below 13, 12 or below that, that is when a coach is needed, which is a much harder program. The third one is a club ambassador program. Now, for the club ambassador program, you don't have to be part of any group. You are a club ambassador. You can make visits to other clubs and become an ambassador. If you want credits for it, please get back to me. I can connect you to the club ambassador program lead. And we can also help you with open houses. If you're struggling to organize a clubhouse, open house, and you're not sure how to organize it in an effective way, let me know and I can help you with that. Next slide, please. Okay, now I want to speed up a bit. Remember, you're not alone. You're in this all together. So the first contact, as Kitzzy and Stefanie told you, is the area director. Next is the division director. Then the district of 4, which is the group of folks you have on this call today. The last is Toastmasters International, and please note down the number there. If you have any questions, reach out to them, and they will be more than happy to help you with any questions you have. Next slide, please. This, I will not go through this in detail. You can, since this webinar will be shared with you, please go through this. And if you notice, all of these are tied to incentives between now and September. So please give it a go. And as Kitzzy rightly said, there are up to $700 for grabs for each club. So why not make use of it? Next slide, please. These are some good resources which have been shown in the previous slides as well. I thought I'll just put it out there for you. And all the slides which we have used have some kind of URLs mentioned somewhere or the other. So please, when you get this, when you get access to these slides, please make a note of these URLs. Next slide, please. Thank you. That's my time there. And if you have any questions, we'll take it up towards the end. I will hand it over to the PR manager, Kameka Walker.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kameka Walker, and I'm excited to be the PR manager for the next year. I've been a member of Toastmasters for about 9 years now, so it's been great to see the progression of our district. Next slide. As PR manager, I have a couple different goals. One is promoting all of our district events, and it's not just the district promoted events, but the events that the club does as well. Managing some of our tools and sites like meetup.com, our District 401 blogs, any social media that we have out there, promoting any newsletters, as well as the utilization of our D4TM website. That is such a really great resource for all things Toastmasters and District 4. One of the huge things I'd like to focus on this year is cross-club promotion and highlighting some of the club successes. We do a lot of great work out there, and certain clubs may not be promoting what they've done, and other clubs may not be aware of the things that have gone on. And certain clubs may struggle where others may succeed in a similar area. So it'd be fantastic to have more cross-club promotion so that we can get to number 4 and leverage best practices and just keep repeating that so we can have a very successful communication and image of our District 4. Next slide. There are quite a few things that have been presented today, and sometimes it can be a challenge thinking what's the best way to communicate that out. You know you have the information, but now it's like, well, now what? How do I spread that information? There's not necessarily a cookie-cutter way to do it. One method may work for one club, which may not work for another, but you definitely want to make sure your message is being heard and repeat. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Repetition is not your enemy. There's no problem with repeating information, especially since you're not sure if your message is getting heard. If you do find a channel that really works for you, such as email, then continue doing email. But if maybe email isn't the best way to communicate to your club or to prospects or members who you might want to keep engaging with your club, or some folks that might be falling off and you want them to come back, definitely change the channel if you need to. You can do a phone tree. You can try Meetup. Meetup.com is probably one of the better resources that certain clubs have found to be very successful for them. But I would definitely encourage you to try different things because, again, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Next slide. For anything that you're looking to do, if you're looking to promote an event, you definitely want to build an invite or hold your event, share it, let people know what you're doing. And then also you can really maximize the Toastmasters network. We have various ways in which we can leverage our Toastmasters to help us with things. You can talk to someone on the phone. You can share an email. Like I mentioned meetup.com as well. MailChimp.com is a way you can send out mass emails if you needed to. There's just various ways in which you can communicate. And also, as Stefanie mentioned earlier, attending District 4 events is a fantastic way. I've attended events and people have created flyers. It goes back to creating something, sharing it, and then using your Toastmasters network to really maximize your message. Next slide. As I mentioned, tons of resources. It's honestly, when anyone thinks of PR, we are all part of the public relations machine that is District 4 Toastmasters. We all can use the various resources to publicize what we're doing. D4TM.org is a great resource for you to find out about events. And if you're looking to promote something, you can definitely contact the district officer for assistance with that. Toastmasters.org is another way to find out about information. District 411, we have multiple blogs posted there, but if your club has done something amazing or if you have a member you'd like to highlight, feel free to reach out to me at pr.d4tm.org, and we can have a conversation about possibly promoting something via a blog or on that site. Methods of communication. I talked about MailChimp.com. That is something that is actually a free website if you're planning to send a nominal amount of emails to a smaller group of people. I believe less than 100 or 200 is free. So that would be something that you could leverage. And you can promote your club or events that you're doing via an HTML email, make it look nice and pretty, versus just a general Gmail or Yahoo type of email without much effort. So there's a lot of resources out there, so you do not have to recreate the wheel. Meetup.com If you are looking to increase the visibility of your club, Meetup would be a great opportunity to do that. You go to meetup.com and search for District 4 Toastmasters, become a member of that group, and if you email me, I can promote anything that you're looking to do from club meetings, or if you have an open house, and that would allow anyone that goes to meetup.com the ability to see the Toastmasters events that are going on in their area. There's also standard methods, phone call, WhatsApp, WebEx, etc. But I wanted to list out some of the various options because, again, not everything, it's not a one-size-fits-all type of situation. But you definitely have multiple ways in which to promote your clubs, your events, your members, and Toastmasters as a whole. Okay, next slide. Good luck, everyone. And that is it for me. Next slide.
Okay, thanks, Kameka. And thank you, everyone, for sharing. It looks like, oops, hit my key too fast. Looks like everyone is still on with us. So whether you unmute yourself or you type in the chat, I'm curious to know if anyone has any questions, either on a general District 4 topic or something specific that we mentioned. Or even if you just type into the chat and give us a thumbs up to know that you have not walked away from your computer. That would be fantastic.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can see me well. My name is Natalia. I'm with Ring Central. This is my first time I'm having webinar with District 4, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for this chance. And my feedback, it's really helpful that we have the opportunity to attend the webinar. And to be honest, I have just like technical question. If you can share with us the link on this presentation or where we can find the link if it is, just for knowledge, for future knowledge, to use it as a resource. It's really helpful. So yeah, that's my question.
Yep, absolutely. If you officially registered through the Eventbrite page, Kitzzy, if you're able to follow up with everyone with a copy of this presentation, I think everyone would find that helpful.
Yeah, it would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. And there will also be a record. Well, actually, if you want to just send it to, you can send a follow-up email to everyone that registered on Eventbrite, but we'll also post this. I believe it's d4tm.org/webinars. There's a specific webinars page on our District 4 website where this video will be posted as a recording, and then it'll also have a link to download the presentation.
Okay, that sounds perfect. So yeah, if you just could mention in the follow-up email that you can use this link for, I don't know, for the resource for the presentation, would be really great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Natalia. And then I'll also combine this question and answer section with any requests for future webinars you want to see. If you go to the webinars page on the District 4 website, we recorded a few of them last term, and that's when we started that official page. We've previously done some on pathways, on membership, and we want to see what else you guys would find helpful, both as members as officers. Let's see.
Well, I'm definitely excited about the idea of having some future pathways ones. We're going to have my club come to some of those.
All right, perfect.
Are there specific pathways topics you're looking for?
This is the thrust of my email I sent to you, Kitzzy. This is basically we just want to get like a overall refresher, kind of the the overview that was already produced, but we'd like to get another one of those.
Yep, definitely. So when Kitzzy I know catches up with their email, we get a lot of emails every day. She can also send you the link, or actually you can refer to the link that she described on her section of this webinar that has a list of resources. When you're talking to individual members, I always like to ask them, what specifically do you need help with? Is it onboarding? Is it just psychologically wrapping their mind around this kind of change? I think the deeper you go with the members and asking them questions, the more helpful you can be later on. And it looks like Margaret asked that she's interested in getting a great guest speaker for a club and participating in Toastmasters. There are a lot of great avenues for getting guest speakers. I would start with talking to your area director. And Margaret, I'm not sure if you're a club officer. Regardless, we did provide the link to look up who your area director is, so you can look up your club and then the contact information for him or her. And they can usually suggest some guest speakers from neighboring clubs to come in and speak, or even speak as the area director while conducting their club visit here.
I also just shared a link on the chat for speakers for stage time, but this is sort of a shot in the dark. So Stephanie's idea is much better because it'll be someone they know, but this is a venue that sometimes they post when people need speakers.
Yep. And I'm just scrolling down our chat. And thanks, Rachel, for mentioning that you just learned about district411.org. There's some pretty fun blog posts on there. If anyone is also interested in writing a blog post, I think that's also one of the Pathways projects. Let Kameka know. And if you know someone in your club that would be a good author for a blog post, you can also direct them towards her as well. Cool. Any other questions? Oh, cool. I'll let Kitzzy take this one.
All right. TLI is the Toastmaster Leadership Institute. This year, it's going to be, the next one's going to be August 18th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I think the price right now is $16. It's going to go up to $20 soon. And for that, you get club officer training or parallel session if you already got trained as a club officer. And then we will have a bunch of educational sessions, anywhere from how to give a good evaluation to how to build dynamic teams, sessions on Pathways. And you'll have 3 different time slots to choose from, a bunch of different sessions within those. So it's a really great chance to learn more about leadership and Toastmasters and network with other Toastmasters. August 18th. Actually, I will link you guys the link in the chat.
Yay, Kameka got to it first. That's awesome. And I love how engaged everyone is and all the questions and feedback that they're providing, because that's really how we know what kind of information to put out there. I think we take a lot of the information for granted, and sometimes even as club officers, if you are a club officer, just remembering what it's like to be a member for the first time and what kinds of information you would have liked to have. I think it's a good exercise to step back. Let's see. So Neil asked us if Toastmasters International is ever going to offer club officer training virtually. And right now that's not the case, just because it's really difficult to verify whether or not someone actually attended. And it's better to just attend in person and make sure that they're physically there and can get credit. So even though there are a lot of attendees who will be honorable about that, because it's more difficult to monitor, they haven't rolled out that option yet. Anyone else? Or if anyone wants to ask us a fun question about us, something you want to know about the top 4. I just voluntold the rest of my team.
Fine, I'm game.
Yeah,
let's go.
We can cut this part out of the recording. This is your chance. If not, totally fine. Okay, I'm going to give it 5 more seconds. And I'm sorry if someone is in the middle of typing. How do you manage your time? Oh, that's a good one. Oh, Kitzzy, you should.
Oh my God.
I think each one of us should go. So
So,
I'm gonna call in Kitzzy.
yeah. Oh, fine. Ironic that you should ask this because this is the week that I feel that I've done the poorest job of this. It's a balancing act for sure. And for me, so we use Basecamp project management software to track all of our to-dos and Google Calendar, and that really helps me keep track of time. And I'm also this year, I'm working on balancing, not just managing my time, because I am the type of person who is always saying yes to everything, and there's only so much of me to go around. So for me, just having clear to-dos and clear deadlines and account and keeping track of everything in one place really helps me stay on top of what I need to get done. And finally, one thing that Stefanie keeps reminding me is that we can't always do everything that we want to do. So we step into these roles and we have these grandiose ideas, but then life happens. And so we have to figure out, okay, what is the next thing that I can do that can have the most impact? And what are those things that I have to let go? And sometimes we just have to make those choices.
Kameka, did you want to answer the question? Or Kalidas?
Kitzzy did a very good job of explaining what all of us are pretty much going through. At least in my case, I can tell you honestly that when I stepped into this role, I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. And the first few days were very overwhelming. And with each passing day, things are getting better. But then I'm a strong believer in the saying that I'm not ashamed or scared of failure, as long as I know I tried my best. And that's all I'm doing, and I'm sure that's what all of us are doing. So,
Great, thanks. Kameka, did you want to respond to that as well?
Sure. I found it helpful. I was an area director and a division director, and now on the district team, I've definitely found by having a day that can focus on Toastmasters work, it's been helpful. But now I found that there's probably things that come up every single day. So at least be able to check my email in the morning and the evening, since I have about an hour and a half commute, has been pretty helpful in managing a little bit of my time. I do have some other, as everyone has, personal things that pop up here and there. So I think the next year will definitely be a juggling act, if you will, but I'm up for the challenge.
Awesome, thanks. And I guess I'll answer the question too as a closing remark before we wrap up the webinar. In terms of managing time, this is my fourth year in district leadership, and I'll have one more next year technically as immediate past district director. My personal situation and my job situation has changed over the years. My fiance was just joking earlier today that I have Toastmasters as a job, and I have my full-time job, and I have a couple of contractor positions. So I have many different jobs, and it can be challenging at times to juggle everything. Margaret specifically asked how many hours I can dedicate to Toastmasters activities, and it can honestly be anywhere from, thanks, Kameka. It can honestly be anywhere from like 2 hours to 20 hours. It really depends on the week. Something that I have learned over the years is how to trust my team, how to motivate my team, hopefully, and encourage them to do good work, because I used to be such a micromanager, and I just needed to do everything my way. I needed to make sure it was done, within a certain time frame of my choosing. And I realized that's just not possible. And that's why we're here in Toastmasters. We're here to encourage the growth of other people, to build people up, to encourage leadership. And that comes with realizing that not everything is perfect and not everything needs to be perfect. But as long as you get the job done, and people are learning along the way, I would say that's a job well done. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any other feedback for us, something that you think of later tonight or tomorrow or anytime in the future, feel free to get in touch with any of us. These are our official email addresses for District 4 Toastmasters. And of course, if you have any immediate questions about your membership or club officer related admin stuff, you can call Toastmasters International directly. Their support line is fantastic, so I would recommend just giving them a call. And then lastly, if you're a club officer and you have not yet heard from your area director to schedule a visit, you can let us know. You can also try reaching out to them directly. We want to get them to the clubs, sometime by the end of August, ideally. So just let us know if you need any support in that. And let's scroll down the chat. It looks like there's some webinar ideas that keep coming, which is fantastic. Yep, so thanks everyone for joining. I think it was a great exchange of ideas and a great way to kick off the brand new Toastmasters term. So have a good rest of your evening, and we will post this recording soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night.